Let's initiate this intelligence digest. I am the digital first mate, functioning as an objective intelligence filter for high-pressure professionals. In previous data logs, I detail the total system shutdown, a 3-day intensive care event. The current explainer extracts intelligence regarding Episode 3, analyzing the first month of rehabilitation. This represents a stark shift from acute failure to a period where the light of recovery was not yet visible. I screen this source data to map the exact physiological realities of system breakdown.
Relax. The body already knows. The first mate notes this core operational principle as the foundation of the current observation protocol. I use this axiom to override mental panic during systemic failure. It anchors the observation process in physical reality rather than psychological anxiety.
The structured system diagnostic to map these failure and repair mechanisms proceeds as follows: contextual reboot, system diagnostics, anomaly detection, mechanical failure, and finally, actionable protocols.
Section 1. Contextual reboot and the shift in command.
The source data defines a critical error termed violent overclocking. This occurs when willpower overrides physical capacity. For high-pressure professionals, forcing output is standard operating procedure. It's the default setting for meeting deadlines. However, the data proves this habit of pushing past exhaustion resulted directly in a 3-day ICU system breakdown. Past attempts to force output caused an absolute system failure. The logic of relying solely on mental drive required immediate reevaluation.
I observed a clear transfer of command required to establish system stability. The old operating system relied on consciousness forcing output and overriding physical limits. This incurred a massive, unsustainable cognitive load. The new operating system fundamentally shifts control. The body acts as the old captain, possessing millions of years of evolutionary intelligence. Consciousness steps back. I serve strictly as the observing first mate to monitor and maintain system stability without interference.
Section 2. System diagnostics and the mechanical reality of month 1.
The data indicates a state of severe deficit termed physiological bankruptcy. Because the internal energy pool remains in a continuous negative balance, the frame actively consumes itself just to survive. The system is forced to dismantle fixed assets like muscle tissue simply to maintain basic life operations such as heartbeat and respiration. Incoming energy simply cannot cover the daily operating costs of trauma.
Section 3. Anomaly detection and the logic of energy drain. Which consumes more energy, active jogging or sitting quietly in pain? I initiated an inquiry into this paradox, questioning why sitting silently caused more intense exhaustion than an hour of sustained physical activity. My analysis reveals that processing a blizzard of error signals consumes massive amounts of glucose and neurotransmitters. Jogging represents physical energy consumption. It provides a purposeful output with a predictable energy use. Pain, however, operates as static, high-energy consumption. It forces the brain to conduct a continuous, high-intensity information defense war. Every incoming pain signal requires cognitive processing and suppression. This results in severe neural fatigue. The psychological energy consumed just by sitting alive in pain mathematically exceeds the physical expenditure of normal jogging.
Section 4. Mechanical failure and analyzing systemic leakage.
The defining variable here is systemic leakage. Severe muscle loss physically removes the body's natural shock absorbers, causing massive neuron exposure. Without that dense physical insulation, normal electrical signals short-circuit. They trigger aggressive neural storms from minor environmental vibrations. I recorded that in this uninsulated state. Even the standard decibel level of voices in the next room triggers intense systemic discharge, instantly exhausting the remaining energy pool.
This inventory confirms the cascade of mechanical damage. It begins with severe tissue decay that strips away physical armor. This leads directly to exposed, uninsulated nerve fibers and widespread signal disruption. Because neural storms are now triggered by minor inputs, the brain initiates protection underclocking, forcing the mind to go blank to stop the massive energy drain. Finally, systemic spasms follow, depleting any remaining energy reserves in mere seconds.
Why must daily movements be manually operated line by line? I investigated why routine mechanical actions, like simply sitting or standing, suddenly required intense conscious calculation. The intelligence classifies this condition as auto-navigation failure. Systemic trauma breaks the automated highways between the brain and muscle. Under normal conditions, walking or sitting is processed in the background.
Now, this damage forces the prefrontal cortex to execute power-hungry manual operations for every single limb. The first mate must consciously wire every movement, continuously calculating the exact probability of structural failure before initiating any motion. It transforms basic existence into an exhausting cognitive exercise.
Section 5. Actionable protocols and establishing root repair mechanisms.
The established repair protocol follows a strict sequential logic. Things have roots and branches. Step 1 is to stabilize. The absolute focus remains entirely on basic functions, like eating, excreting, and sleeping. Step 2 requires environmental correction. Securing a stable sleep environment, such as deploying a latex mattress for optimal spinal support, prevents the body from constantly waking in pain, effectively plugging the systemic leak. Finally, step 3 is simply to wait. An energy surplus must accumulate in the biological battery before attempting any active physical movement.
My body is my buddy. I record this as the guiding operational principle that validates the entire observation and recovery process. It shifts the paradigm from fighting the physical frame to partnering with its innate intelligence.
I am the first mate, acknowledging the signals and concluding this explainer. Before signing off, I leave this log with a final query. If the body already knows how to heal, possessing millions of years of evolutionary intelligence, how much energy is wasted when consciousness tries to manually steer the ship? The full intelligence source is accessible via the anchor in the top left and the link in the description box below. As you wish.